Welcome to my HTML tutorial. So in this tutorial we'll be going to look at some of the basic stuff in the HTML as the same thing what we learned in the introduction tutorial last time. So it's an extended version of this. So in this tutorial we look at the basic HTML structure and we'll be drill down each component in the HTML structure and I will explain one by one. So for this tutorial also I'll be utilizing the Mozilla Firefox uh, MDN web documents because it's a very valid document, so I'll recommend for every student to go through it. So in this we have already looked at some of the areas, what is HTML tag, what is HTML attribute, and how you write attributes inside the HTML tags, what are the two variations in the tags. So likewise we discuss sort of a very fundamental stuff in HTML, and also I introduced there's a HTML structure that we need to follow every time when you are going to implement HTML document. So it should have a HTML version, and you should have HTML tag, which is the main or the root HTML tag, which is cover the head and the body of the HTML page. And then I want to discuss some of the other features in this HTML language, like white spaces. So if you look at this, so we know it's a white space means if you're giving some extra spaces or extra design changes, what using the keyboard, what happens, it will not affecting in the browser. So for example, you can see here I have kept some extra spaces in this document, and there are one line break here, but when we apply we don't visualize these designs in the web page. So for example, if I copy this code and go back to my HTML page, so index.html file what we created in the last tutorial. So if I place this, so you can see we have the paragraph, and after that there's a line break, and then there's another paragraph which is having some more spaces in between the dogs and words, and there's a line break, and then there are tab spaces. So if I save this page, and I'll already started my SAMP server, and then I'll go into my domain, that is codewrapper.com. So you can see even though I gave different design for the two paragraph, both are similar when it's visualized in the browser. So that will indicate that HTML is not sensitive for the white spaces. So if you want this kind of design, you have to manually add HTML tags and entities to generate this output. So that's in the high level that you need to understand. So white spaces are not allowed, or it's not readable in the HTML language, and if you need to get the use of HTML tags, attributes, and entities. And the next thing is, what is entities? So we already discussed what is a tag or what is the element and the attribute. So entities, this is coming into the language to represent some special characters. So for example, we know HTML tag or element is understandable by the HTML language by looking at the left angle bracket and the right angle bracket. So that means these symbols has meaning to the HTML language, and attributes comes with a double quote or single quote, so it has a different meaning to the language. So if that kind of situation, how are we going to show this symbol in the browser? So for that we can use the entities, and at the same time there are some additional symbols, different symbols are there, for example the trademark symbol or a dollar symbol. So for those symbols we don't have a key in your computer keyboard, so for that also we need the entities. So then you can look at, there's a representation character for the end special character that you are going to write. So for example, the left angle bracket, you can refer with the reference equivalent character, that is an LT, and if you want the right angle bracket, and GT likewise. So for example, if I copy this code and place it in here, so two paragraph in here, you can see I put a p tag and then again it's there, and this time we have p tag, and the p tag is representing in a different mode using the entities. So here if I execute this, this will be known as a valid tag for the HTML language and try to show the style relative to this tag. But in this case, what happens, you will be get print a p tag design in the browser. So I'll save this and refresh this, so you can see I'll be getting this design. But in this case, what happens, the paragraph, it understood as a separate paragraph, and then it's put a line break, and the second or the element part comes in a new line. So that's another thing that you need to remember. So entities are most of the time very important section you need to tackle. And what is HTML comments? So as you know that when you are working with HTML code or any other programming language, you may need to have some basic understanding about the implementation. So that will be helpful when you are going to look at few years after that. So you will may think, okay, so the code is really ugly and I don't understand it. So at that time the comment will be more beneficial for us. So or else we'll say you are going to show it for another developer or someone else, so he may not know what's the exact code what you wrote. So in that time also, by looking at the comment, a simple English that you will be giving what sort of a thing that you are going to plan to implement in this page, so that will be the comments. So HTML uses commenting symbols, so that is left angle bracket, exclamation mark, 2 dashes, and your comment and ending will be 2 dashes, right angle bracket. So if I copy this code and go back to my code editor and type this, you can see this will be turned into a different color in this Visual Studio Code. So it represent green color as a commenting. So there's a shortcut key to comment in the Visual Studio Code, that you can use the control and the forward slash, so that line will be automatically get comment. Or else if you think that you need the whole 3 lines need to be comment at once, copy it and then press control forward slash, so then it will be get commented the 3 lines you selected. So those are some special combinations available in the text editor. Right, so that's one feature I want to look at, and the next thing is I want to give you some more in detail about this HTML structure. Right, so we know that this is the basic HTML structure. Whenever you are going to implement HTML page, you need to follow this structure. So in that, the first thing, you need to give the version of the HTML. So if you wrote like this, this will be considered as the HTML5 version, and you should have HTML tag, and in between that you should have the header and the body. So you can see that these tags are linked together, so it's kind of a nesting scenario what we discussed in the previous video tutorial. So in there, the head will be acting as the resource person of the page. So head will have some resources, for example the title of the page, or some valuable content or keywords about your page, and some of the external resources like JavaScript or CSS. So those resources will be added inside this head tag. So out of that, so we'll look at the title thing. So in my code, you can see under title I have put learning with Praveen. So if I modify this to code, sorry, code wrapper, and save this, and here you can see under title initially we have the learn with Praveen. So if I refresh, you can see it turns to codewrapper.com. So in this title scenario, it will be a bit more beneficial, like if you are going to do a bookmark, so what happens is name will be automatically considered as the title that you provided. So that will be some more beneficial if you are going to give a proper name for the page that you are going to present to the user. And if you think about the meta tag, so the meta tag has some different types of engagement. So for example, it will be used as to inform what's the character set that you are going to use. So we know that when you are going to add content into the HTML page, that need to be compliance with one of the character set. So for example, if you are going to keep your whole page in Japanese or in Sri Lanka Sinhala language, so in that scenario we need to make sure that the characters that you are going to present has to be compliant, so the browser should know that. So in that situation, by telling the character set will be helpful for the browser to understand what is the character type you are using. So UTF-8 is a universal character set that include lot of character types which are day-to-day human use. So therefore most of the time the default one is UTF-8, but in this example you can see, like if you are using with the Chinese characters, so then you need to Japanese characters, so you need to use some different stuff like this encoding type ISO 8859-1. So that is like having the Latin alphabetical characters as well. So likewise you can have different character sets added at the beginning of the head tag, or else like you have the option while you are writing in the body you can add some more character types and then execute the code. So that's one benefit, you can explain what's a character type using the meta tag, and the other thing is you can add some author or the description. So this is most of the time will be beneficial for the search engine optimizations. So search engine optimization is a different path, a different area that you can think about, like how you going to make your web page more popular and get some good traffic to your web page. So for that there are a lot of key things we can perform. So out of that, in the code level, this is one area that we need to think about, like if you are going to develop it, you need to make sure that your web page compliance with the SEO or the search engine optimization guidelines. So in there it's clearly mentioned that use of meta tag as a helpful for the search engine optimization. So you can see there are example where you can have the author and the content, and there you can put the name, description, and give some content or key terms about your web page. So those things are there, so you can refer this website as well. So here it will be explain some more details, right? So there are some other data type as well. So in the meta tag you can publish, so one is called the Twitter. So if you use like this, what happens if you are going to tweet it, the Twitter will collect the content that you have given in the Twitter meta tag, right? So you can see the content Mozilla Developer Network. So the same thing you can see in here. So those things are available when it's come to the meta tag. And at the same time, you can have an icon to your web page under the tab, like the way that you change the title of the tab. So you can add the icon. You can see the YouTube icon, it's there, and some of these web pages it has this icon. So if you go to the Facebook, likewise there's icon. So you can put an icon using like the icon also will be added in the head tag. So you'll be learning this adding icons, those stuff later on, but just to understand, adding an icon also comes under head tag. So like as I told you, you can have some CSS and JavaScript, or the external files can be, or the resources can be added into the HTML page under head tag. Right, so I hope you understood that the basic things in like that you need to be remember when it's come to the HTML structure. So from the next tutorial onwards, what we do is we'll be looking at some of the other HTML tags related stuff. So we'll be having text related HTML tag, image related, or the multimedia related HTML tags, hyperlinks, tables, forms. So those will be going to discuss in detail in different video tutorials. So for this tutorial, I'm going to conclude by explaining these examples and the basic structure of the HTML page. So let me know if you have any questions, so put it in the comment section, I can help you, and you can personally contact me as well. So you can like to my channel and subscribe as well. So we'll stop this tutorial for today. Thank you.